What's going on, people? Welcome back to Nick J. Francis' channel again. And Arsenal have absolutely smashed Nottingham Forest 5-0 at home. And what a great performance that was to see. You know, after the Southampton draw and after the loss at PSV, the key thing that myself and other Arsenal fans were asking for, was a reaction. That's the key. Everybody said, listen, well, the Arsenal fans that I know and me and my brethren, the key thing for us was that we saw a reaction. It wasn't necessarily that we went on to win the title and all this extravagant stuff. We want to be seeing the effort. The midfield effort in the midweek game just wasn't there. There was no legs. They look leggy. They look exhausted. And we did not know at that time, is this a physical issue? Is this a mental issue? And you know what's funny about being an Arsenal fan, is like our club and our team is so scrutinised no matter what they do for any little thing. Like, we won a few games at the beginning of the season, we're on a good run, people are talking about title contenders. We didn't say that, they said it. Then we have a couple shaky performances. You know, we've struggled in a couple of games and suddenly there's cracks starting to show. They're not serious, they're bottlers. And what I don't like about sports journalism generally, anywhere from YouTube people all the way up to Talk Sport, Sky Sports, any of these people, is that it's always one extreme or the other. And the reality is most football teams, most players sit in the middle. Most players are not the best player ever. Most players are not dead and horrible and League One level. They're somewhere in the middle. And it just goes from one crazy extreme to another extreme, and it's nonsense. Do you know what I mean? We lacked intensity against Southampton. We created chances, but we didn't score. We knew when we got Gabriel Jesus in that he's a very good player, he's a very good technical player, but he isn't a 25, 30 goal a year striker. He's a 10 to 15 goal a season striker, but he'll get you lots of goal involvements. We already knew that. We're still talking about it like we didn't already know that when we signed him. And when we signed him, we spoke about, or Arteta spoke about him being the best of Lacazette and Aubameyang. He's the best of Aubameyang because he can run in behind and he can get himself goals, and he's a striker in that sense. But he's the best of Lacazette, where he can hold up the ball and bring other people into play as well. So he's a good balance. We've got young people around him, Ødegaard, who should be getting goals, Saka, who should be getting goals, Martinelli, who should be getting goals. And so we don't need, obviously, everybody wants a Haaland. Everybody wants a prime Ronaldo, a prime number 9 that's going to come and score goals. That's not what he is, and that's fine for the time being for where we're at. We're still in the middle of this project. The project isn't built. Our average age of our team is still like 23 and a half, maybe 24. It's still a young team, and we just sway from these crazy extremes to one side or the other. So the key thing today was showing some resolve and showing the mentality of the team and showing the mentality of Arteta, and we did that. Nottingham Forest are bottom of the table. It doesn't mean that we are. This is a game we should win. We should be beating these teams by these score lines. But credit to the players, they went and did it. And you know, we know that we typically start games very, very fast. First 10, 15, 20 minutes of the first half and first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the second half are typically the times of the game where we really, really dominate. We play at such a high pace and such a high velocity. We really struggle to keep that up. So after half an hour, it starts to drop. And if we haven't scored more than one, it could be problems. We start to concede chances at that point. And the same in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the second half. That's the style of football that we play. If you're a manager going up against Arsenal, you try and keep it tight for the first 15, 20 minutes and grow yourself into the game, which is what Southampton did and managed to get themselves a draw. So, but early on, we showed that intensity. And I think after the first goal, we saw where that intensity came from. And every club has players that leave them and have a bad relationship with them, good history, bad history, whatever. But one of the things I love about Arsenal is some of the relationships we have with our ex-players when they leave on good terms of the club, the family club nature, etc., etc., etc. We all know Mikel Arteta's team talks and all the rest of it. And we started and scored a goal in the first 5 minutes. Brilliant play from the midfield. Xhaka driving the ball out, which he wasn't doing in the midweek, punching the ball out, zipping it across to Saka, getting the ball in. Martinelli cuts across his man and gets the goal. But a really heartwarming moment when they all run over to the camera and hold up the Pablo Mari shirt. And that, for me, he's still an Arsenal player. He's on loan. He's not a bad player. Left-footed centre-back. I quite like him. You know, maybe he was a little bit slow. Didn't have the best first touch, but not a bad player at all. But regardless of his football ability, just as a human, a good guy, solid professional. And, you know, we all pray for everybody for what's happened in Italy. Obviously, Pablo Mari's the celebrity, but for everybody involved, let's not forget there's other people involved that don't kick ball, that aren't celebrities and all the rest of that. So from there you can see, I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta uses that, and I don't mean uses it in a bad way, but uses it in a positive way and gives the team that motivation and really, really fires them up. And you see that in the team. They start off so fast, they're all a cohesive unit. And the way that Xhaka and Partey were popping the ball, driving the ball wide, we've got two of the best, most exciting young wingers in our team. We need to utilise them. We need to get space around them. And with the first goal for Martinelli, it's Ben White doing the overlapping run, which, to be fair, Tomiyasu often doesn't do. Tomiyasu's a better defensive right back, but Ben White's probably a better attacking right back, as a better ball player. And he does the overlap. That leaves the fullback with a decision to make. As the fullback stutters and kind of goes with Ben White, Saka puts the ball in, Martinelli gets the goal, and it just sets the tone. We do end up half time is 1-0, but we've dominated that half and we feel really confident, and we just start to concede chances coming towards half time. Then going into the second half, you know we're going to see another fast start from this team. Saka goes off, which is a bit of a worry. We've got to keep an eye on that injury. He plays a lot of minutes. He plays a lot of football. And, hopefully it doesn't look like it's anything too bad. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Reiss Nelson comes on. And for me, Reiss Nelson coming on is only because of how bad Fabio Vieira was on that right-hand side in the week. I was so angry to see Fabio Vieira starting on the right, because he's a central midfield player. He shouldn't be starting on the right. Whereas Reiss Nelson, he's a winger. Put this guy on. And I think Arteta, this is one of the areas where, like I say, Arteta does a lot of stuff that I like, and he does a lot of stuff that I don't like. And that was one of the things that I didn't like. But sometimes he's forced into making these decisions. And he makes the decision to bring on Reiss Nelson instead of Bukayo Saka. And that was the game. Do you know what I mean? 2 goals, 1 assist from Reiss Nelson, absolutely saucing, like dancing all the way through, getting himself goals. His second goal, he created the chance for himself, had a shot, keeper parried it, and he managed to follow up and smash in the rebound. And that really symbolises his hunger and his drive and his determination. You know, Reiss Nelson is that player that, almost like a Jesse Lingard, where we spoke about him being young. Now he's 23, 24 years old, and it's this season, and it's these types of moments that if he's ever going to have a future at Arsenal or a future at the top level of football, period, these are the games, these are the moments where he has to show this level of intensity. He manages to do that. He gets himself 2 goals, and he lays the ball to Partey and gets himself an assist, and Partey smashes in an absolute banger, and Martin Odegaard seals it at the end as well. And again, Gabriel Jesus, no goals today. Loads of the media talking about this guy, 6 games, no goals, etc. 3 of those 6 games, he hasn't started the game. He's been off the bench performance, all right? And in a lot of those games, he's still involved. He's still very involved. Today, again, no goals. We won 5-0. He didn't score, but he got 2 assists. And when you look at the goals that we create, he pins his man as a defender. He leans on his man. He takes his defender away from the play. And he's so involved. The goals will come. Definitely, he could be more clinical. He's worthy of some criticism. But some of the criticism say, is it a mistake to sign this guy? And some of this stuff is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Because we know what he does. We've seen so many great attackers like Bobby Firmino and these types of players, Thomas Muller, that play up top, and they're the sort of they're the target man of the team. They lead that line, but they are not necessarily out and out goal scorers, and they just play that role to bring everything else in. And the goals will 100% come. He's got so much quality, so really happy for him to get 2 assists. And you could see, like, for him, he is struggling to. You can see, like, when he doesn't get the goal, he's very aware, not struggling, he's very aware that he hasn't scored in 6 games. He knows. He doesn't need any reminding. He knows. But he's not playing badly at all. If he keeps playing the way that he's playing, the goals will fall to him. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But yeah, prayers up for Pablo Mari and everybody over that whole madness that happened in Italy. 5-0 against Nottingham Forest at home. We have got 2 more league games, just 2 more league games before we go to the World Cup. And being top of the table going into the World Cup would be huge. We have Chelsea next week, and then we have Wolves. Wolves is very winnable. Chelsea may be a struggle. I know they just lost to Brighton, but even still, we can't take that for anything when it comes to our game. It's a London derby. They will be at their A game to play against Arsenal for the sake of pride, and they have so much talent in that team. We can't look at what happened at Brighton. We can look at what happened at Brighton and take some tactical ideas, but we can't look at that and think, yeah, Chelsea are on bad form, we can beat these guys. So we've got to be really aware of, really ready for these types of games. But it is possible for us to go into the World Cup break and be top of the Europa League table and get ourselves a favourable draw. We're playing Zurich, and based upon what I just saw in that reaction from Arteta's team, we should go and beat Zurich comfortably. And then we, like I said, we've got the 2 league games. We also have a third round EFL Cup game against Brighton. I don't really, I mean, I should care about that, and I care about it a bit, but, you know, I don't really care about that. You know, top of the table for Europa League and top of the table in the Premier League going into the World Cup would be an absolute dream. Nobody would have predicted it. Nobody would have, you know, if we said that at the beginning of the season, people would have laughed at us. But we're 3 games away from that happening, and here we are. And Chelsea and Wolves are both winnable games. When we play football like this, I know Nottingham Forest are the bottom of the league, but when we play football like this, and we have this confidence, and we have this determination, we have this togetherness, we have this intensity, we can back ourselves against any team. And we have to keep this level of intensity. The thing I like about Arteta's teams, and the thing I liked about today, it's not that it's 5-0, Nottingham Forest, top of the table versus bottom of the table, all the rest of that. What I liked is when we lose, let's see a reaction. Let's see the players take it seriously. Let's see the players take it personally. Let's see the players look at themselves and say, this is not acceptable. We want to do better. And we saw that today, and that's something that we can be proud of. That mentality, no matter where we end the season, if we keep this mentality up, we can be proud of this team come the end of the season. If they keep fighting to this level, some games you win, some games you lose, whatever. But the mentality and the effort is there, you know, and that comes from the manager, that comes from the captains, that comes from the team, from the club. So that's all I've got time for today. Still top of the table, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we've got, like I said, a couple games left. Just being top of the table going into the World Cup would be absolutely amazing. We'll have to keep an eye on Saka and his injury, but I'm so glad that Reiss Nelson got that his 2 goals and got involved, because he's needed that. He is a player, probably the most at the club, who's really needed that. So thanks anyway, guys. Peace.